Not to be confused with Fridays with Beer or Tuesdays with Maury, which is supposed to be a great book. Never read it, but there you go. I am Marcus Beer. You have joined me in my not the white void that John Oliver sits in. This is my dank void, my dank dark void in Altadena, California. And I'm here to talk about stuff and shit. So if you are in the chat room, say hi. We will talk. I've got shit to talk about today. First of all, oh, look at that. Hair went a little bit wobbly. God, can you believe it? I so need to get my freaking haircut, dudes and dudettes. Hello, Slade. Hello, Barbara. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Oh my God, the hair, it's just going crazy. I hate having a look at myself when my hair's like this. I know I'm vain, but thanks to the vaccination, I'll be able to get a haircut in 3 weeks, and I will get a haircut. Don't vote for Daleks. Daleks are the alt-right of the Doctor Whoverse. They're horrible. No, thank you. Anyway, got a good show today, I think. Touch wood. You'll probably disagree by the end of it, but what the hell? I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, we're going to talk about why we can't seem to get bug-free games anymore. I mean, obviously, all game, we accept a bug or two or a glitch in games, but it seems to be the bigger the game now, the more glitches, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. If you hear the dog in the background, that's because my darling wife's just pulled up in the car, and he's going ape shit. Hello, Frost again. And then I'm also going to talk about toxic fandom. And I think hi, Dragon Girl. So yes, I'm going to talk about toxic fandom because bug-free games and toxic fandom are kind of interspersed because one can inspire the other. But first one, I'm going to have a more serious tone for the next couple of minutes because it's been. Barbara, my wife is doing great. She had a second vaccine shot on Saturday, and touch wood, she's been really good. Little sore arm, which we both had. Nothing major. She's been really good. A little tired on Sunday, but I cannot stress this enough. If you can have the vaccine, the only reason you shouldn't have the vaccine is if you have a genuine medical concern. I mean, 100% genuine. Your doctor said no. Other than that, get the vaccine so we can all get out. We can all go to movies. We can all go and have picnics. We can all go to concerts. In the past year, I was supposed to have seen Adam and the Ants, Pet Shop Boys, and New Order. I mean, that's like my 80s fucking wish list right there. And all 3 concerts were cancelled because of the pandemic, understandably so. And we all want to get back to that. Let's all get back to that. Get the jab as soon as you can. As soon as it's possible. Do it. Trust me. Let's still be here in 50 years. Anyway. Hi, David. All right, so it's been a hell of a 7 days, 8 days. We know what happened in Atlanta last week with the shootings there. We know Colorado this week with the 10 more dead, 6 dead in Atlanta. A 6-year-old girl shot twice in the chest and murdered in Texas. And just where I live, we've had an uptick in gang-related shootings because where I live, I live in a great neighborhood, really good community, but like most places, dotted throughout California, Southern California, there are different gangs who like to fight and shoot each other. And the fuckers have been doing it more and more over the last 12 months. And obviously now we've got the same. We've got President Biden saying universal background checks are needed, taking assault weapons, and then you've got people on the more conservative side saying, "Don't take my guns." Blah blah blah. He's not saying that. He's not saying that. We have to do something. Every sensible, smart gun owner, of which there are a lot, and all the sensible, smart ones are in favor of things like universal background checks. They want this stuff. They want to be protected. They don't want people dying. The ones who are all against the background checks are the ones we don't want to have the guns in the first place, because the background checks will show up that they've beaten their spouses or they get into fights every Friday night after getting a skinful. And I just want to say that I have a gun. I own a gun. It's locked away, safe. It's a handgun. I took the test to get the permit, and then I took the other test before I could even apply, go purchase it. And then I did the background check before I could pick it up with the state of California. Passed all three. It's locked. It's safe. I don't have a problem with background checks. Neither should anybody else. And I just hope that we are not returning to the America pre-pandemic, which was mass shootings every fucking week. It's terrifying. We don't need it. We don't want it. It's horrible. People are dying. We've got to stop it. So anyway, that's my okay. So I just wanted to sorry for the somber start, but I mean it's been a rough week for everybody in America. I think the targeting of Asians, is after the politicizing from the last administration has been absolutely abusive and disgusting and horrible. And I actually want to share something with you. I was out with the wife on Saturday after she got her shot. We stopped to get a coffee. She went into the store to pick up the coffee, fully masked, as you do. And I was outside with my mask. Didn't want to go in the store because, if I didn't need to be there, didn't need to be in. But I was outside. And this little old Asian lady, must have been 65, 70. I was on a pretty wide sidewalk. She was walking towards me. She looked at me and saw this big 6'2", 235 pound white guy with a beard, pandemic hair, a mask. And even though she had plenty of space to socially distance and pass me, she stepped out on the road and went around the car in front, on the sidewalk to not come near me because I'm a white guy. And I don't fucking blame her. I don't blame her. And it's a horrible feeling. Horrible, horrible feeling. But it's one that minorities, Asians, Latinos, blacks have all had to deal with over the years, where people see somebody who's got a different skin tone, and they cross the road or they walk around them and they give them a dirty look. And I honestly, it shook me, but it made me understand things a lot more. And like I said, I don't blame her. And I just got to say, please don't buy into this bullshit Asian hating that's prevalent. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let's stop hating each other because of the skin of our, the skin we're in, or who we love, or what we identify as gender-wise. Let's just get on with being cool people, because at the end of the day, we can be really cool people. We can do amazing things. We can get vaccines done. We can give people food, housing, and clothing, etc., etc. So, yeah, I just want to say, it's really sort of like, it does shake you and bring you home. And what I experienced was nothing but a millimeter microcosm of what Asians, blacks, Latinos, and every other person with a different skin tone who looks a little bit different to me has suffered over the last 1,000 years, because it's always been around. Always been around. All right. Sorry. I needed to. Slade, that's just, if that's meant to be humor, it's not funny, dude. All right. Let's get on to the other show. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's get on to what we're going to talk about. First of all, some news out of Marvel this morning. We're finally getting Black Widow. Finally, Black Widow is going to come out. It's going to hit in theaters here on July the 9th. And so I'm assuming the rest of the world will probably get it a week earlier. It's going to be in the theaters, and it's going to be on Disney Plus for $20 to rent. And I got no quibble with it. I got no problem with that. I mean, to be honest with you, people, and I have said, Disney should just include this with Disney Plus. But then Disney Plus is only charging me $7 a month. HBO Max, which also is dropping all the major movies, they're twice the price. So in the end, it kind of it more than evens out. Cruella is also coming out to streaming and movie cinemas the same day. They've announced that Shang-Chi is coming out in September. I think the Eternals as well. That's coming up at Christmas. So if you're a Marvel nerd or a superhero nerd, it's got, we throw in Suicide Squad on top of that, it's going to be a really good time for us to enjoy stuff, whether it's on our own, on our own TVs in our houses, or hopefully socially distanced in a super safe theater environment, masks on, everybody's vaccinated, we're good. So yes, that was a nice bit of news today. And now I'm going to start talking about the other stuff. Okay, Slade. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. Instead of selling bulletproof vests for everybody, how about we stop putting guns in the hands of fucking morons? That's all we're talking about. Stop the morons, the ones who fail the psych tests, getting the guns. And you won't see a big change initially, but it will start to weed them out. If you have beaten somebody up, if you have a history of violence, psychotic outbursts, if you are posting stupid shit on the internet about QAnon or whatever, that precludes you from owning a weapon because you're certifiable. You think the earth is flat, the moon landings are fake, and Bill Gates is injecting nano chips into us and altering our DNA? You're a fucking idiot who doesn't deserve it. Deserve access to a weapon. In fact, you're a fucking idiot who barely deserves access to freedom, as far as I'm concerned. No internet. You can just sit at home, away from everybody, and do us all a favor and get extinct. And I was not talking about you, Slade. I'm talking about the yous, not you. But this is this is all right. Something very, very dear to my heart. This is very important to me. Anyway, back to the other stuff. Bug-free games. Now, we all know about Cyberpunk, and I'm going to talk about that because I found a doozy this week on that game. Still finding a doozy 3 months later. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's another one. And look, I know these games have come out during the pandemic, and the fact that they have come out is a triumph of the flexibility of the human and resilience of human beings, and that we can switch to working at home where we can get the internet in, we get the computers up and running, and we can still, people can still deliver a game, which is fantastic. However, I don't know whether it's because of the pandemic, but two of the games that I invested my money in last year and I played a lot of, Cyberpunk 2077 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, are buggy as shit. We know about Cyberpunk. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has issues. Some of these issues are now getting absolutely worse. Bugs in Skyrim. We've had in the past with Fallout 76 and Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas. I mean, the bigger the game, the more there are bugs in it. And should we accept this as consumers? This is my big question. This is my wonder, because as games get bigger, should we be accepting of shoddy work that comes out and then is fixed, hopefully, over the period of weeks, months, years after the fact? Let me tell you about a game that came out several years ago. Fucking huge game. Still play it today. Grand Theft Auto 5. No bugs in Grand Theft Auto 5 that I've ever found. Played on the PS3, PS4, PC. Played GTA Online. They finally fixed the loading. Thanks to whoever hacked that game to fix the load times and then sent that hack to Rockstar, who then adopted it for GTA Online. Good on you. Now that's some... hire that person. Say, come work for us. Improve our load times. You're fantastic. So we know that Rockstar say, they ship a game when it's done. And they, they're part of a bigger company in Take-Two, and they still, Take-Two have shareholders that they're beholden to and everything. But Rockstar have said, when it's done, we'll fucking ship it. And when they do that, Red Dead's another one. Wasn't my favorite game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one that shipped bug-free. And then we compare it to, like I said, the two other games I've just mentioned. Games like Avengers that have less glitches but more serious gameplay issues. And I'm just wondering, is this a case of the bigger the game, the harder it is to bug test? Or is it a case of, oh, we've got to make the deadline, let's slap it out? Now, this week, in the past week, Warner Brothers announced Gotham Knights is moving to next year, which I think is a great sign, because Gotham Knights sounds really cool. but they're moving because they want to make sure it's right and gets it out. I think it would be nice if more companies did that. Now, I know that if you're making a huge game and you have, again, let's go back to my current favorite love-hate relationship, Cyberpunk. When you're making a game of that stature, you need to have a QA department the size of a small country to be able to tackle every single aspect of it and make sure it ships in a decent state, which they obviously didn't. And we all know what happened there. Now, we know the press have been somewhat after these guys and, some of the others. I'm reading press reports about various things like the latest Valhalla patch came and broke a lot of the game, which is, or not a lot of the game, some of the game, which is a big issue. But where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? I mean, the next game from CD Projekt or the next game from Ubisoft, do we turn around and say, no, I don't trust you. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until it's out and see what everybody else has to say. And there are playthroughs and so on and so forth. And this game has to be bug-free. Do we have to be in a position where we bombard them with tweets, petitions, etc., to get stuff right? Do they have are they beholden to us to deliver a bug-free game? Yes, they do. They do have, they are beholden to us to deliver a bug-free experience, because if we're going to put down our money as well, especially now for things that, we don't own physical copies of the majority of games anymore. They're mostly digital delivery in a lot of cases, PC games especially. So if I lose, my PC dies and all of a sudden Steam stops selling Cyberpunk, I'm shit out of luck. I won't get that game again because I've bought the license to it. But I spent a lot of money on it. I spent $60 odd dollars. So this is what I'd like to know. I would like to know, as from you guys. I mean, do the console makers have should they play a bigger part in this? We know Sony took Cyberpunk off the Sony store. I think Microsoft did as well. Should Steam have taken Cyberpunk off? Should they turn around and say, all right, you have QA tested this game and you tell us it is 100% shippable. We are going to go run it through our own QA and charge you for the privilege. And if we find bugs, we're not shipping it. But we're Ubisoft, we're EA, we're so-and-so. Tough fucking shit. The console makers, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and gateways like Steam and the Epic Store, they have a responsibility as well, in my mind, as the gatekeepers. Now, I know gatekeeping is a dual-edged sword. There's certain words that I don't like using. Gatekeeping can have such negative connotations, especially within fandom. But they do have to stop letting these games out into the wild. They need to stop them getting on their systems, because it does nobody any good in the long run, except the core publishers, because, they get the money in, they're good, they've got no commitment or, no responsibility to turn around and fix a game. A lot of them do, fair fucks. I mean, we looked at games like No Man's Sky, how that's came out in its original horrible shape, got hammered, and they've worked on it. But maybe No Man's Sky should never have been released in the first place. Maybe Cyberpunk should never have been released in the first place. Maybe Assassin's Creed Valhalla, considering it has a lot of the same bugs that the previous Assassin's Creed games are known for, like quests not firing, glitches, graphical glitches, not being able to talk to people unless you're in an infinitesimal point in on the screen, aim glitching, etc. This shit's been going on through the Assassin's Creed games forever, and yet they still get this stuff sent out. They still get the pass from Microsoft, Sony, and Steam and Epic. Nintendo, you don't really see those games on Nintendo. So I think we need to hold these people responsible. We need to hold Microsoft, Sony. We need to hold the publishers responsible. Dev teams, well, a lot of the if the dev team does what they do and then they get it, they have a deadline from the publishers and they have to get it to the publishers by X date. They're trying their best, mostly. If they don't deliver, they don't get paid, which is the way of the world. If we have people saying we won't buy your stuff, we have people telling Microsoft and Sony, we won't buy your stuff, we won't buy this on your store where you get a cut of it, we won't buy this on Steam, we demand that the games be bug free, they be fixed. Because let's face it, if I buy a car and it's like, oh well, you've got the wheels and the steering wheel and the engine, brakes aren't exactly working 100%, but don't worry, we'll update them. Maybe 3-6 months down the line. Don't worry, we'll fix it. 3-6 miles down the line, months down the line. Where the fuck? I mean, video games are the only industry where you can release broken product and fucking get away with it. That's not right. And of course, we do have people like the Entertainment Software Association. I mean, they're supposed to be the standard bearers. They're supposed to, make sure that the video games industry is protected and takes care of itself and blah, 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 blah. They're about as useful as a chocolate fucking condom. There is no consumer facing in protection for people who buy video games. You buy a video game, unless you are exceptionally lucky, you won't get a fucking refund for something that's a bag of shit. And you've dropped $70 for it. I think it's just got to change. Just the way I feel. Let's go back to the room for a sec. See what's up. Hello to everybody. Johnny Fournier in the house. RPG. It's Heinz. Yeah. Look, I mean, I've worked obviously at publishers and developers. I've seen the amount of work QA departments go through. Small QA departments, big QA departments. They bust their fucking asses on the whole. But if they're the first ones they let go when a game is over, and then they'll we'll just hire new ones, because a lot of people want to get into QA as they view it as a way to get into the games industry. So we'll just ship this game. Let's get rid of the QA department. All the QA testers, and we'll just hire a bunch more later on and have to retrain them. Is it any wonder the standards are so fucking shoddy when QA departments are being chopped and changed left, right, and center, when they're viewed as disposable commodities? Those are the guys and girls who do work 12, 14-hour days. When there's crunches going on in dev, QA departments are in crunch too. They're working their fucking asses off. And you have to be experienced to know what you're looking for, how to replicate a game-breaking bug, dealing with the engine. And the only way you get that experience is by being there product after product after product for the same company. That experience makes a difference. So yeah, that's just where I am today. That's just where I am. In fact, I'm going to tell you about the thing that just drove me fucking nuts. I mean, obviously, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's an issue there. I haven't booted up that game in a little while because I've been, still playing Cyberpunk. And before I give it the bad, I'll give it the good. I played through to my second ending this week. And anybody who's played the game will know you've got multiple choices on what you want to do after a certain part of the game. First time round, I did X, Y, and Z. Fade to Black, that's one ending. Second ending, if you played it threw away the pills. Fantastic ending. Emotional punch to that one. Whoa. Bravo, CD Projekt Red and the writers and everybody put that together. That's fantastic. Now, the third ending is the one I just started playing through, because obviously you get to a set hard save in the game, and you can always go back to it over and over again to then branch off and do the multiple different endings if you don't want to play through the whole game again. Now then, this is an ending. The mission is called Forward to Death. And you are playing with one of the Nomad factions, the Aldecados, and you're planning a big... This is supposed to be like, the big climactic battle type one, because the other ones are a little more sort of like stealth-based, sneaking in, going and doing various things. This was the one, big assault on an enemy outpost that gets you to another place. And it starts off really, really well. There's literally hundreds of guys and girls running, with you in cars. You're driving a big fucking tank. Boom, boom, boom. Shit's blowing up. It's great. You get to the next set point and you have to kill. You have to protect two people who are trying to hack you into a building. And there are 20 enemies. And there's a little counter saying 20 enemies. You defend against these 20 enemies, you'll be good. And then the enemies come in, and there's like 3 or 4 tanks of them, and they peel out, and there's gunfire, and it's like, whoa, this is great. This is such fantastic action, totally different to how I've played the game before. And I'm like, all right, blew up that particular truck, killed those people. I can see the counter. All right, boom, boom, boom. You have 9 enemies left. And there's nobody around. No 9 enemies, nobody at all. All I can see is on the little top screen, map in the top corner, is the red circle of a alleged enemy, but it's literally flicking across the minimap like that over and over. Like, oh, you've got these 9 enemies left waiting to kill them, but they're not fucking there. They're not underneath. They're not above. They're not in tanks. They're not trapped in behind a wall. There's nowhere. And I've just played through about 45 minutes of really gripping storyline and emotion, only to hit this fucking brick wall. I've come this close to uninstalling the game after that. I've put up with a bunch of fucking bugs from this game, but that's fucking unacceptable. It's a bug that's been tracked since, let me see, when did this one go? When did this one? This one's been noticeable actually since launch. 4 fucking months that this game has not been fixed with a game-ending bug in the final mission. One of your final missions has a known game-ending bug and they still can't fucking fix it. That's unacceptable. That one, it pisses me off. Now, I've already had 140 hours of fun from this game, so I'm not going to demand a refund. But I'm not going back to play Cyberpunk again until they fucking fixed everything. I've given them a pass in the past. There's a lot of great things, as I've said. But enough's enough. Fix the fucking game. Don't come at me with, oh, we're fixing the police teleporting in. Well, the police teleporting in is quite an issue, but it's not as bad an issue as a fucking game-breaking bug right in the final mission. Fucking sort it out. And see, I get wound up. Now, am I angry at CD Projekt Red as a organization for allowing this to happen? Yes. Am I angry at individuals? No. Do I want to threaten individuals? No. Because at the end of the day, it's a bigger picture. It's a bigger team failing, not one person. So there's no point going on Twitter and harassing some fucker with, oh, I wish you were dead because this broke. I'm angry and frustrated, but I'm angry and frustrated at CD Projekt Red, at Steam, at Microsoft, at Sony, and the Epic Store for allowing a broken game out and it getting past these various barriers, these safety valves that are supposedly there to protect us. And this is why we do need a consumer-facing protection agency or a group that will stand up to publishers, developers, and console makers and retailers and hold them accountable. And I'll be the president. Whew. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Pavel says stop pre-ordering. It might get rid of the release now and patch it later. I've been guilty of pre-ordering. I ended up, pre-ordering like 9 minutes to go, but I only because I had the faith that it would actually work on my PC. And I'm lucky it did. But if I'd have had an Xbox or a PS4 version, I'd be fucking furious. All right, let's go down the list. QAs are the call center employees of the game industry viewed entirely as disposable. Absolutely. QA, events management, PR, they're always the ones who are actually the first to go. Community, they're the first to go across the board. Why? Because it's such a maligned part of the, and yet vital part of the industry. And the money, the people who get the $200 million bonuses and fire these people are the ones who say, well, any fucker can do it. They couldn't do it. Bobby Kotick couldn't fucking do it. He could not QA a game. He could not handle a call center. Ditto the heads of EA, Nintendo, Sony, whatever. Ooh, annoying. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, Mass Effect 3 is a good thing that I actually, I'll talk about that when we get into. Oh, look at me. The hair is all over the place. All right. I really do need to get a fucking haircut. Somebody come cut my hair, please. Yeah, we'll talk about Mass Effect 3 in a minute. Nihilist, you are very lucky because I'm seeing a lot of people complaining about exactly the same bugs that I've had. Yep. Yep, Time Warp your man. You're not wrong. Fix the fucking game. Yes, they needed 2 years. Oh, they could have just broken it up into segments. They could have fucking Justice League. Oh, they could have Avengers Endgamed it. We could have had the first part, and then we could have had the second part in installments, over the period of 6 or 8 months. That'd be great. Because there's enough gameplay in there to really sort of handle episodic. Under George, yes, I am still alive. I'm still alive, and I've been doing this for almost 2 months now. Where have you been? You're not following my Twitter. You're not following the YouTube. What's going on? And actually, let's do the housekeeping as usual. If you don't follow me on Twitter, there I am at Annoyed Gamer. If you're not watching this on Twitch, you can follow me on Twitch. You can follow me on the YouTube. So it's Marcus Beer. I am Beer on Twitch. And then, of course, if you like what I have to say and want to keep, want to support me, there is the Patreon, where we've got the different levels. And thank you, as always, to those who have supported me. So let's go on to how that leads this, shipping shitty, broken product gives rise to, and it's not always just shitty. I mean, normally, a lot of the time, it's just people being fucking pricks. But let's talk about toxic fan culture. Now, I have been on record of being pissed off at publishers, developers, people within various departments of publishers over the years for their stupid comments, their stupid actions, the way they treat the consumer in general, the games player, the person paying their wages, in effect. And I've been very, very critical, angry at them even. But I would like to think that I know for certain I've never tweeted a death threat to somebody because they nerfed my favorite weapon in a game, or they refused to put a certain map into a iteration of a game that's now 4 years later. But that is something that's been common ever since social media kicked in. As somebody, again, who's worked at publishers and developers, before the rise of social media, we were not getting hate mail. And I never saw a piece of hate mail come into any of the companies I worked for. People were not phoning up and screaming abuse at us. We weren't getting hate faxes, hate carrier pigeons, or anything like that. Certainly no death threats. But with the rise of social media in particular, it has opened this gateway, this discourse between people who work in games and the people who pay for the games and play the games. And in an ideal world, it's a great thing for people to be able to talk. I mean, if you're a PR person, it's a fucking nightmare. So glad I don't do PR anymore, because having to tell my teams, no, you can't be on social media, would be fucking diabolical. Because I know what they'd be set up for. I know they'd get abuse, and I know they'd probably also give away stuff that, would totally bollocks up a PR plan, because we know leaks happen. And now there are ways, I mean, we have had this. We had this with Mass Effect 3. And I'll be honest with you, I hated the original ending of Mass Effect 3. Why did I hate it, you ask? Because I felt it made a mockery of everything that had gone before. It made a mockery of the whole, every decision you make in the preceding games will build up to the ending that you deserve, and everything will be taken into account. And then this ending came along, and it was just like total fucking bollocks, cookie cutter, miserable ending, which wasn't open world at all, which didn't have any impact, which wasn't impacted by any of the decisions we made. And people were pissed. I was pissed. Didn't do any death threats. But EA and BioWare heard it, went back, fixed it, and put it out. Now, again, people were doing death threats, unacceptable. But a lot of people, petitions, etc., were done in a sensible and smart manner, and change was done, and everybody was happy. Now, if hello Playland, do I sound like who? Fuck off, Ray. Raypad picking on me again. So let's move to the modern. And look, we've had, when fans get together to do good shit, we get Mega Man on, people get the Mega Man game that they wanted, or Mighty Number 9. These things are kickstarted and improved and go through. You get sequels, you get TV shows that, when you do it right, shows like Brooklyn 99 are picked up after they canceled at Fox and put onto NBC. Shows like Lucifer, which was cancelled by Fox, ends up on Netflix. We've had Arrested Development. We've had these shows come back because the fans have actually engaged and have had some also very fun little tactics of doing these things, but not threatening. You don't get shit by threatening. And that's when fan interaction works. When it doesn't work, or when it is toxic and annoying, and this is the obviously the meandering thing. So what's happened today is there's been a bunch of stories coming out, and we're going to talk about, my favorite punch bag, Zack Snyder's Justice League DCverse, the Snyderverse. And the reason we're going to talk about it is because news has come out today, interviews with the head of Warner Brothers Studios, who have said that they made the decision to go ahead with the Snyder Cut despite the toxic fan abuse that a lot of the Snyder fans have been interacting with. And they say a lot. I don't think it's a lot. I think it's probably the same really nasty little bunch of fucknuts who get together, sit on 8chan or 4chan, bitch and moan, then target people. Because any Fox executive or Warner Brothers executive or anybody who is not seen to be behind Zack Snyder was targeted for a shit ton of abuse. And that's unacceptable. They have said that they will not be releasing the David Ayers cut of Suicide Squad. And now people are up in arms about that. And people are, again, hitting with the abuse. And we're talking about the fucking David Ayers cut of a shitty ass movie. He was the director. Yeah, he said that he lost his editing stuff and the movie was shit. Well, we've got a new Suicide Squad coming. Fuck that. Let's put it to one side. You're not getting one. No, thank you. We don't need it. Warner Brothers didn't have to do the Snyder cut. They did it because fans wanted it, and despite the toxic annoyance, they spent a shit ton of money on that. And it was also, let's face it, not super altruistic here, because they also had something that they knew people would subscribe to HBO Max for. We've got to stop being dicks. And look, I'm a dick, but I'm not a vindictive, nasty little dick who will attack the same person over and over just because they don't agree with me on something, unless you're a Trump fan. I kid. I don't have any friends who are Trump fans. But yeah, we can be passionate. We can be fans. We just can't be fanatics. And I said this before. I said this on a Night Game on game trailers all those years ago. I said, don't be a fanboy. Don't be a fangirl. Just be a fan. Don't be a fucking fanatic, because that's the word. Fan comes from fanatic. Fanatic is someone who's cuckoo fucking bananas, and you don't want to be a part of that. And we are fans, first and foremost. We're fans of video games. We're fans of movies like Star Wars and Star Trek and the Marvel and the DC. And we are fans of Doctor Who and, Stargate and all these cool things that bring us all together. You guys turn up and hang up and talk to me and watch me because you're fans, not necessarily of me, but hopefully because I say a lot of things that you think about and agree with. Because at the base level, I think I'm a relatively decent person. And at the base level, you're all very decent people. You're not going to be sending off death threats. You're not going to be posting shit. And what we need to do is make sure that if we have friends who are doing this, we need to talk to them and say, fucking stop it. Wind your neck in. Toxic fandom is the reason I walked away from game trailers all those years ago. I saw the direction the industry was going in. I wasn't very happy with it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the abuse. I felt I was contributing and stoking up the abuse in some sections, and I didn't want to be a part of that. I saw Gamergate coming. I didn't want to be a part of fucking Gamergate because let's face it, I'm against Gamergate. I would have been against Gamergate. I would have fucking devoted so many annoyed gamers to taking down that stupid run by petty-minded little morons with tiny dicks thing called Gamergate. Because Gamergate gave birth to the incels. And a lot of the bullshit we see in general today all came from fucking Gamergate. Gamergate was not the root cause, but it was the first showing of the tiny dick parade. And they emboldened a bunch of people, and they saw what Gamergate did, and they bought into it. We have journalists who I say journalists in the fucking loosest sense of the word, who had been pro-feminist, allies, all that sort of stuff, and then switched during Gamergate because they saw they could make more money out of Fox. I'm talking about a guy named Ian Miles Chong here in particular. Fucking parasite of a human being. Can't stand him. He's ended up on the far right. He's become somewhat of a darling. He filled the Milo void because Milo was another dickbag. Milo was like, oh, video gamers all sit in their fucking basements in stained sweatpants and play video games, until it was profitable for him to say, oh, well, Gamergate is about video game players standing up for what's right. These people are parasites. They're opportunists. They're mercenaries. They don't believe in anything unless there's coin in it. So yeah, Gamergate was what was coming. I didn't want to be a part of it. I couldn't be bothered, to be honest with you, because I knew it's like pissing into the wind, and I knew I would get doxxed, I'd get attacked, I'd get swatted. So would my friends, so would my family, and I didn't want to put anybody through that. And 5, 6, 7 years later, we're still talking about the same shit. This shit is still coming out. And it's not acceptable. We need to get away from it. And we need to be better fans. And I'm trying to be a better fan. Yes, I get pissed off at Zack Snyder. Yes, I get pissed off at stupid decisions that are made for, like, Doctor Who or the last 3 Star Wars movies. But then I also rejoice on things like The Mandalorian and, when I see the trailers for the Suicide Squad that look really good, and Shazam was a great, fun little movie, and great comic books and stuff like that, and I rejoice them more, and I want to celebrate them more. I'm trying to be less negative about a lot of things, and I'm trying not to be toxic. I don't want to be a contributor to that, and I ask that you guys are the same. Don't perpetuate the bullshit and the retweets from idiots, because that would be great. Dave Bond watched one of the IAW apps where I still think Resident Evil was shit. Resident Evil 6 was shit. Sorry. Was it 6 or was it 5? No, 6. Yeah. Horrible aiming convention in that game. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Nihilist, yeah, just be a fan. Just be a fan. Yes, you should definitely, so stage select. Watch Shazam is fun. Aquaman, kind of fun. Certainly better than, in my opinion, than a lot of other, better than Batman v Superman or Man of Steel, in my opinion. Suicide Squad starts off fun, suffers from a shitty bad guy. Shitty bad guys a go-go. I've said it on this show so many times. Shitty bad guys a go-go. So let's go back to the Snyder Cut, because I'm still going to have a little... So they have announced that we are going to get a new version of the Snyder Cut in black and white. Zack Snyder said, oh, I look what they did with Logan. And Logan was an excellent film, and they released that in a black and white cut, and everybody loved it. And since I'm so fucking talented, and everybody loves my Snyder Cuts and my movies, I am going to release this in black and white. Yeah, black and white, 4.3 aspect ratio. I did tweet this out yesterday. I am not going to watch the black and white version of Justice League because I know in the direction Snyder's going, and I know he still hasn't given us his true vision. Because his true vision will be he's digitally going to replace all the actors that are in there now with actors from the 30s and 40s. He's going to make the movie silent with the little cue cards and a tinkly piano. Because that's his vision, apparently. His vision of this is to make it like something from 1920. His movies aren't art. Logan is a fucking excellent movie that just so happens to have a superhero in it. And it's really, if you haven't seen Logan, you have to. It's not your usual X-Men related film. It's a real surprise that it came out of Fox, and they gave them the freedom to do it. It's a fantastic end to Wolverine's story. Great movie. Please watch it. It's fucking amazing. The black and white version, it's a gimmick, but it actually works really well because it's a very dark story, not as action led. Black and white Snyder cut of Justice League, fucking ridiculous. It's pandering and it's pretentious. So pretentious. But I will say one thing. One bit of good news that came today. I think this is good news. I don't know how many of you will think this is good news. But DC, in their discussions with about the toxic fandom, have said there's no more Snyderverse. The Snyderverse is dead because obviously the Snyder fans are also, well, we got our Justice League 4-hour cut and now we're getting a black and white one. So we want the Snyderverse to finish off. We want 2 more Justice League movies because we want to see, he's told us what he planned and we want to see it. Now, this is what he planned. He planned the nightmare scenario over 2 more movies, which would have basically taken his contribution to the DC universe to a pentology, which I think is a word. He says a 5-movie trilogy, but a trilogy can only be fucking 3. So it's got to be a pentology, right? 5-sided pent. He was going to do the nightmare scenario. Batman was supposed to defend Lois Lane while Superman went off to fight Darkseid. It's just the spelling. I always say Darkseid. And Darkseid still manages to get to Lois, gets the antimatter equation, takes control of Superman, makes him his slave. And then we saw that was the end of that's where we come into the nightmare visions that Batfleck was having during Justice League. And then you'd see this ragtag Suicide Squad / DC group going down to try and take down Superman, and then have the Flash run through time, go back, fix everything. And the reason Batman let Lois die, this is a fucking good one. He hesitated because he was in love with her. I fucking ask you, really? A character he's barely had any fucking contact with, he falls in love with her? And then hesitates when it comes to saving her, so she dies and the fucking world goes bananas and ends? Bollocks. And then we follow it up with Flash goes back, convinces Batman to sacrifice himself to save Lois, and then Superman goes on, destroys Darkseid, and we find out that Lois is pregnant with Bruce Kent, named after Bruce Wayne, who is the powerless son of Superman and Lois. And 20 years down the line, they take this kid with no powers to the Batcave. And this is a fucking, paraphrasing a Snyder quote here. They take him to the Batcave and said, your Uncle Bruce would be so proud if you became Batman. And then we get a new Batman. I am so fucking glad the Snyderverse is dead. I am so glad Zack Snyder is not going near another superhero movie, because we know Marvel wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. In fact, I hope Zack Snyder doesn't make any fucking licensed movies anymore. Keep him away from them. He's done so many. 300 was successful because men in abs, leather. It appealed to a wide demographic. Watchmen was a good adaptation. Sucker Punch, horrible. That's a movie I put on if I want to fall asleep. And then we get into his pentology, or the first three parts of his pentology in Superman, Man of Steel, Superman v Batman, and Justice League. They wreck the fucking material. They wreck the source material. He treats it with so much disrespect. He should be banned from making movies about any licensed product anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up doing a fucking Star Trek movie next. Anyway, yes. But we can go ding dong. The Snyderverse is gone. It's all over. Yay, yay, yay. Brigham. Oh my God, Brigham Stitt, one of my oldest friends from my Ubisoft days. Top quality dude, top quality chap. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to go back to the chat room catch up because obviously I'm a little bit behind, like 10 minutes or so. 6 was shit, 5 was okay. Yeah, I did Resident Evil. Raypad. Well, we just look. I can get you. I can understand with the dude, bro. Aquaman. I like Ezra's portrayal of the Flash. It's grown on me, and I'm somebody who's a big fan of the CW, Barry Allen. Yes, this. So there you go, Mrs. Doubtfire R-rated director's cut petition. If it's a petition, just a petition, that's great. I would actually love to see that version. It will never see the light of day as a movie because the director said that all the Robin Williams stuff where he was riffing and going off couldn't actually be cut into a movie, but he'd be open to doing a documentary and showing all that footage, which would be so cool. We don't need a second version of Mrs. Doubtfire, but I would love to see Robin Williams riffing, because I was a huge, and still am, Robin Williams. My favorite comedians. His stand-up is sublime. I grew up with Mork and Mindy. His movies, a lot of them just have so much nuance. I mean, he did some crap. We all, we know that, but he's such a great entertainer. So yes, the Mrs. Doubtfire thing, you haven't looked it up, type in Mrs. Doubtfire R-rated version, and then you'll see some interviews with Chris Columbus. But I would love to see that documentary. I'd pay to see that documentary. Let me see. Rob Schneider cut. Okay. What about Mad Max Fury Road, Black and Chrome? I never watched Fury Road in Black and Chrome. I watched the original version in the cinema. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Never been a huge Mad Max fan. I mean, Thunderdome really quite spoiled it for me. But that's the thing. This was not necessarily a Mad Max movie. It was about Furia. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but take or leave it. Let me see. No sepia version. Okay, hang on. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna. Frosty Ken, don't be a dick. You don't want the other two Justice League movies. Nobody. You know what? How about you take a crap in a blender, put some cat vomit in it, and blend it all up, and then pour it over your TV screen, and that will probably be the same as the rest of the Snyderverse. Let me see. Scrolling down. Gremlin 117. You speak constantly about your fellow PR people and connections you developed during your time in the industry. Do I have any relationship with actual developers, artists, and designers? Yeah, I have friends who are producers, heads of studios, games design, heads of dev teams, game designs, people I've spoken to over the years, interviewed, or just worked with. And yeah, they're great people. It's ironic that the ones I tend to get on with are the ones who aren't part of studios, developers, publishers that perpetrate some of the malarkey. To be honest, it's bizarre. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, I have some. I'm very lucky to have a lot of friends who I've met over my numerous years who are still doing great stuff because we sort of like get on and have the same mentality. Facebook friends still chatting. Yeah, I actually do. So yeah, I'm quite lucky. They're also really good when it comes to sending me codes for shit. Because I love them. But they also know that if I don't like the game, I will still talk about, be honest about it. Let me see. Am I a fan of the WB TV shows? I think I discussed this before. The Arrowverse has its ups and downs. Flash is the one I like the most. Arrow, enjoyed on and off because too much of the island for my my opinion. Supergirl got way better after its dodgy start, in my opinion. But again, I'm not necessarily that audience. Tried to watch Batwoman, sorry, not Batgirl. Couldn't get into it. Black Lightning, I really liked. Legends of Tomorrow, couldn't really get into. I mean, literally, because it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every fucking night there was something new on, and it was just it became a bit tricky to carry on because they obviously interwove so many things. So yeah, on the whole, I am a fan, and as I think I've said before, I'd be more of a fan if they took this stuff to HBO Max or even HBO, and we got some HBO level, like Game of Thrones, Westworld, Sopranos level, fucking DC related stuff on HBO. That to me would be fantastic, and that would lead to lots of subscriptions, and they should get on with it. I have started watching Superman and Lois. I'm like I've watched all 4 episodes, I think. Yeah, has its ups and downs again, but it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. Did I watch Doom Patrol? I've watched some of Doom Patrol. I've watched some of Titans. Haven't finished them because, again, I've got a backlog of stuff. You know what I did watch today? And I tweeted out about this and I Facebooked out about this yesterday. I started watching it today. On Netflix, I'm streaming through. I see Nick Cage. I see Nick Cage holding some sort of pole. And the movie's called Jiu-Jitsu. And it talks about alien life forms after a master's been killed. And everybody has to fight to survive. And I'm like, you know what? I'm down with that. Didn't get to watch it yesterday. And I actually have a really good reason. Beverly Hills Cop was on, has come onto HBO Max in rotation, and my wife has never seen HBO Max, Beverly Hills Cop, which is a fucking great movie, Eddie Murphy movie, dated obviously 1980s. So we sat and watched that. She watched it with me, and she enjoyed it. So I didn't watch Jiu-Jitsu yesterday, but I started watching it this morning as I was sort of like formulating things to talk about today. And let me just recap, say, the first 20 minutes without giving, too much away. Movie starts with a guy running through a forest with some invisible thing, predator-esque type thing, shooting shuriken at him. Chasing him. And we're not just one at a time. It's like 5, 6, 7 to go. He's running. Comes up to a cliff with like the ocean below him. And he stops and he looks and he twists away as he gets hit in the back by 2 shuriken or whatever they are. And he falls off the cliff and falls, I don't know, 60, 80, 100 feet into the water, hits his head. He's lying face down. Still manages to survive, though, because we then cut to him being fished out of the ocean onto a fishing boat. And then he gets dropped off at a American military camp that's supposed to be, I'm guessing, Thailand, Malaysia, somewhere that area. And I got to say that this is where some of the really offensive shit comes in, because this guy, the people who drop him off, it's an Asian fisherman's wife. It's an Asian woman. She drops him off, on her motorbike with a little trolley stuck to the back, and he's in it. And she's trying to tell them what's going on. They bring up their interpreter, who is full of attitude and hip and cocky and blah, 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 and cannot translate and is quite offensive. Not funny at all. I'm guessing they went for funny on it. But anyway, they treat this guy. He starts to come around. They strap him into a dentist chair in a cell, because everybody knows cells come with dentist chairs. And he starts getting questioned because this woman comes up and she goes, we're running your face through international blah, 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 and databases. And we would need to know what you're doing here and where did you come from? And do you know about the mission? What fucking mission? I mean, this guy is fucking, has barely said 2 words the entire time. And of course, this woman says, I'm military intelligence. Oh, she doesn't have to say she's military intelligence, by the way, because as all military intelligence people tend to do, she's wearing a uniform with military fucking intelligence written right there. I mean, this movie is not a fan of subtlety and nuance already. So she tells him she's military intelligence, even though he can still probably read. And he doesn't know, doesn't have much to say. He doesn't seem to remember anything. She goes away. and sends a guard in to take him back to another cell, obviously without the comfortable dentist chair. And the guard goes to grab him, and the guy just goes, oh. And he seems to think, oh, all right, hang on, I can hold this guy, I'm strong. And then all of a sudden he beats the crap out of the first guard, and then the second guard, and then a third guard comes in to try and subdue him because, you know, these soldiers are getting the shit kicked out of them, and he gets his nose broken. And somebody hits him over, hits the guy over his head, and he's passed out. Then he comes to again, and all of a sudden we're having a conversation between him and military intelligence girls. Says, you know, it's like, oh, you just put 3 of my guys in the hospital. We'll forget about that. I've got a badge that says military intelligence. And so they go for a walk, and she's telling him all about this fucking secret mission. And they go into this bunker. Now, this is supposed to be, again, somewhere in the Far East, even though it's now, you know, when it was nighttime, it could have passed for it. Now we're in daytime, and it's so obviously a film set here in Southern California because it's fucking desert and scrub and everything. May even be in Mexico. And then three monks start walking up to this military base. And then we cut to one guy, because the other 2 monks apparently disappeared, who pulls a hood back, and his hood doesn't even match that of the 3 monks before him. And he starts kicking the crap out of everybody. And all of a sudden, this U.S. military personnel all look like cheap knockoff Hong Kong stuntmen, having the crap kicked out of them in ill-fitting uniforms. And there I paused it. And I was like, okay, well, I can't watch anymore for the minute. So I've watched the first 25 minutes. No Nick Cage, by the way. Not seen Nick Cage anywhere near it yet. So basically, don't watch Jiu-Jitsu until I finish watching it, because I'm doing it as a labor of love for you guys. You don't have to watch it, because so far it's shittier than a bag of shit on National Shit Day. And look, I mean, there's nothing wrong with straight to video, you know, or what we used to call straight to video, now straight to video on demand. Classics. I mean, Canon Movies specialized them in them in the 70s and 80s. We had American Ninja, 1 and 2. American Ninja 3, The Domination. We had a bunch of like the Death Wish movies and stuff that was just stupid crap, but was moderately entertaining. But this is something else. So yes, I think it might take 3 or 4 viewings to get all the way through, but I'm going to give it a go just for you. Willy's Wonderland. Yes, I've seen the trailer for Willy's Wonderland. I'm not paying for it yet. When it comes out on the when it's available on Hulu or something, because Nick Cage does some stuff that's actually really quite good. I mean, he's an Oscar-winning actor, but now I think it's, he's on his 5th marriage. I think it is. I think he's just paying for his marriages now. Let me see. For some reason, look, American Ninja was awful, but really good. It was fun. Michael Dudikoff. I mean, we're not talking about Enter the Ninja, because that one was horrible. So badly done. They had to dub the main guy's voice. And again, it's like, a bunch of highly trained ninjas all having the crap kicked out of them by a ninja in white. Yeah. Have I seen the last blockbuster documentary on Netflix? I have. Saw it last weekend. Oh, yeah. It's funny. I mean, it's a great documentary. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely great. Perfect for nostalgia, because, again, part of the generation that grew up with video stores. And I mean, video stores for me when I was a teenager. That's when they kicked in, not when I was much younger. And yes, the whole, before even Blockbuster, the mom and pops, we'd go rent a video, and half the stuff was not available because it was all out. But we'd rent things like a lot of the Canon stuff, like American Ninja, or Enter the Ninja, or Ninja 3 Domination, or Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. So yeah, I really loved that Blockbuster documentary. It's a great bit of nostalgia. Although I will say, people are like, oh, well, I miss those days of going to Blockbuster. And nostalgia is a beautiful thing, because nostalgia, you only remember the good shit. And you remember, oh, I'm just going to browse, and I'm going to take it all in and see these movies that I'm not going to take a chance on these movies. I'm just going to get the big blockbuster that I want. Oh, they're out. Well, what's next? Oh, they're out of that one. Oh, I'm going to pay $6 for a bunch of really crappy popcorn and then come out. But it was a time capsule. So as that part of nostalgia is great. It's funny. My wife and I watched it, and we just looked at each other and said, "Oh, and because one of the people interviewed said, "Oh, you can never recreate that feeling of going into a blockbuster now. Kids today don't have that feeling of going into a blockbuster and spending an hour looking at different movies and really trying to pick one that suits you both." We just looked at each other and laughed. It's like, bitch, don't you have fucking streaming services in your house? Every time we want to watch a movie, we're like, I want to watch this one. No, I want to watch this one. All right, let's watch the trailers. So for about an hour before we end up watching a movie, we will watch about 25 trailers for movies. And thankfully, 20 of them, because the trailers are so bad, ongoing theme on this show, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of them do us the favor of, I don't have to rent you because my trailer shows 90% of the end of the movie, and I can probably figure out that final 10% of the ending. But that's what we do. Anybody who misses the blockbuster experience isn't doing streaming properly, because the beauty of the streaming now, I mean, yes, and it's nice to have the memory of opening the tape, putting the tape in. Oh, was it rewound? I have to rewind it and get it back, late fees, blah blah blah. The beauty we have now is that we don't have to worry about rewinding. We don't have to worry about the movie never being not in stock. We don't have to worry about the quality of the popcorn because we fucking make our own, and it's pretty good, even though I say so myself. The sodas are not overpriced. The seats, we get to watch them at home, obviously, as you do with a video anyway. But then we can watch another one directly after that. No problem at all, without getting up and having to get in the car and fucking get gas and find somewhere to park, because parking in LA is disgusting. And then, fighting the horde to try and get this. And if you haven't pre-reserved this particular movie, you're shit out of luck. And, the tape's been viewed so many times. It's like, so yeah, loved it as a piece of nostalgia. Maybe one day I will get up to Bend, Oregon. Like I said, if you're of a certain age, I certainly recommend watching it. It's on Netflix. It's really cool. It'd be nice to go up and visit there if they're still open, and buy a T-shirt or a bumper sticker or something and support them. But yeah, part of me misses Blockbuster. Part of me doesn't miss that Blockbuster experience. Oh, Rickster. I used to own a video rental store. One Christmas Eve before we closed for 4 days, I took one of the only films. Fargo. Yeah, I've never watched Fargo. I really need to watch Fargo. I know it's they've done an FX series as well. It's on, I think, all seasons on Hulu. But I really need to watch Fargo. I like that. Netflix. So the stage select is an interesting point here. Netflix is infuriating that they don't make it easy to watch a trailer in the description of the movie. Yeah, and it's interesting. We were on Amazon Fire Stick for the longest time with regards to how we had all our streaming stuff. So we cut the cable about 3 years ago. We were on DirecTV for the longest time. They were bought by AT&T. Customer service went through the floor, and they were charging a fucking fortune. And so we cut the cable, got rid of all that, and we were on Amazon Fire Stick and then Fire Cube, which great. And Netflix on Amazon, the Amazon systems, was actually really, really good. The algorithm seemed to refresh a lot more trailers. They would actually recommend what else you might like. And then we switched to Apple TV last year, primarily because both HBO Max and Peacock were not going to be on the Amazon Fire Sticks and Cubes. And I needed Peacock for my footy, and I wanted HBO Max. So I was very lucky that a good friend gave me a spare that he had of an Apple TV doodly. Went, plugged it in. Really liked the way it worked, everything working. The Netflix app, though, it's pretty shit, because it doesn't offer the functionality of the other versions, or even the desktop version. which is a shame. That is one of the things I miss about it. One of the other things I do miss about the Fire Stick is the Apple remote control is fucking horrible. Whichever numbskull decided to have that fucking touch slidey bollocks where it's like, oh, we've got a little pad here. It's like a little touch thing pad. And you can use it to scroll back and forth. It's like, bollocks, fuck off. Just give me a clicky button. I know you can get new remotes, and I will at some point. There's just always out of stock because apparently everybody else hates the Apple TV remotes as much as I do. Badly laid out, fucking diabolical. Apple should look at Amazon's remotes because Amazon's remotes are way better. End of discussion. Oh. Rob Smith, UTB in the house. So sorry about Sheffield United, sir. So sorry. Another one of my oldest friends. A great chap. All right. Oh, Raypad. Raypad's getting cocky. Raypad needs to realize that his team won't win the Champions League this year. And if he carries on like this, I will be supporting Spurs in the League Cup final. All right. So I've talked about everything I need to talk about, I think, or everything I planned about it. Just over an hour and 11 minutes. 40-odd viewers again. People coming by. I love it when everybody joins in and adds stuff. I'm going to take a couple of final questions. Then I'm going to step away. I will say that obviously after this, I'm going to be doing the after show chat on the voice server on Discord that if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get access to. And, I normally get the same, the same crew coming in. They're all fantastic. So if you ever want to join us, go to the Patreon link and you can sign up for the base level, $3 a month, less than a Frappuccino. And you get access to the Discord. And obviously there's the voice server there where I, have a chat with people. We all talk, like verbalize, and then you get to talk with other cool people who are of the same kind of tastes and have chats about video games, movies, etc., etc. Let's see. Daft Gear TV, am I a fan of Jackass? No. Wife loves it. Wife loves Jackass. Don't know why. I just find that stuff fucking stupid and cruel and idiotic. I mean, that sort of thing is... There's a South Park episode called Lowering the Bar, and it talks about reality TV and how things, Honey Boo Boo gets into a fight with Eric Cartman because he has his own show called Fatty Doo Doo, and it just talks about the bar being lowered and James Cameron's in a submarine trying to find the bar, and people like it. All right, I just don't, and maybe I'm being a snob. If I want to see stupid people doing stupid shit, I'll watch the fucking news because it's chock full of them. To see people risking injury and inspiring people to be dumb fucks and getting paid for it, yeah, not my cup of tea. Never been able to watch it. Never been. And look, I did try watching it, so at least I know exactly what it's about. But yeah. Johnny Knoxville's career for me peaked with Men in Black 2, and that's no compliment. Have you seen that they are closing the PSP Vita and PS3 digital stores? Of course they're going to close them. Fucking we're 2 iterations down on the main console, so there's no need to keep the PS3 store open. And there's no need for the PS Vita because, let's face it, hardly anybody bought the fucking PS Vita. It's like people complaining because you can't get games for the Virtual Boy anymore because Nintendo doesn't fucking support it. I mean, come the fuck on. You want PS3 games? You have to go and get the fucking discs from someone. Get them from eBay. Get them from Amazon if they're in stock. Go to your old retro video game store. Support those guys. Support the mom and pops. But let's face it, don't expect to be to have access to a fucking store on your PS3 when your PS3 is a fucking decade old. I mean, I don't complain about new Dreamcast games or 3DO games. I don't need PS3 games. There are a few that are my favorites. We know Infamous 1 and 2. 2 of my all-time favorite games of all time. But come the fuck on. Anybody complaining about that? And if Sony have any sense, they will start to release them on some emulation software onto the PS5, so the PS3 games can be played there, and they will sell copies thereof. Because I would love, I will get a PS5 someday. I will get a damn sight faster if I can play Infamous 1 and 2. There you go, Sony. I think it's because of a game preservation standpoint, especially when get some. Look, this game preservation standpoint thing is just. I think it's just a cover for a lot of people who just want to complain for the sake of complaining. And as somebody who complains for a fucking living. All right. Okay. You need to hold on a second. Sorry, I just realized for the first time ever, I seem to have a Spammy McSpammyson. Let me see. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Well, this is interesting. I seem to have been flooded. I am flooded by morons. This is really interesting. This is a new experience for me, because these people are in my stream, and okay. Yeah, well, there you go. This is very, very interesting. That now I'm getting spammed for the first time by a bunch of dickbags, and I'm trying to figure out how to block people. This is really interesting. So feel free to join in and let me know what you think. Sorry about this. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Oh, there you go. Boom. Okay. And boom. And boom. And block. And block. So there you go. Well, there you go. So there you go. Sorry about that. I did block some dicks. I am not in the mood to put up with bullshit merchants, so I just blocked them. It took a minute, so I apologize for that. Yeah, that was fun. Anyway, that was an interesting end to the thing. Yes, I'm going to have to put the auto mod on. Sorry about that. That's new. That is really new. Anyway, fun games, not particularly. This is the beauty of things happening live, and I'm just controlling shit myself. It kind of threw me. I've not had that experience before. But yeah. Let's see. Add to block list in Restream chat. This is good. Boom. Add to block list. Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, there you go. The troll show have arrived. Wow. Between that and the message on YouTube last week telling me to go kill myself. Yes, apparently it's nice to be back. But anyway, that's fun. I'm going to have to really get some moderation shit up and running on here. But this, again, learning experience. It's quite ticklish. I'm quite tickled by that. I suppose it's a compliment. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry about that last couple of minutes of, somebody's spamming the whole thing. And it's like, well, okay, happy Hanukkah to you. You can fuck off. Go get a life somewhere else, you dopey bastards. Oh, You've rarely see me lost for words. Genuinely surprised. I mean, it's funny how somebody like me who has this low opinion of a lot of humanity can still be surprised when something like that happens. I should have expected it. I apologize to you for the stop in the stream because I'm like, oh, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But anyway. Yes, you can all say you were here when I got spammed for the first time. Oh, it was a momentous moment, and now I'm off to have a shower and cradle myself and cry. But yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys and girls in the Discord chat if you want to hang out for a little bit. If not, I'll see you all on Friday. Oh, it tickles. I'm gonna have to go get some lunch now. Oh, that just tickled me. Oh, thank you, folks. You rock as always. Likes, subscribes, blah blah blah. All good. The Patreon. You rule, absolutely.